Today we're on the Ovation of the Seas. It's the Ovation of the Seas. We're on the cruise to Alaska. It's our first day at sea. We're just now getting a chance to check out some of the areas of the ship that we didn't check out on the first day. It's in the morning, probably 9 o'clock, 9:30. We haven't really had our coffee yet. Haven't really had the first chance to go to the promenade, the cafe promenade, and get, the coffee and stuff. Kind of stumbled across this little deal going on down here. I'm not sure what this was. We saw a couple different groups that were using this area throughout the cruise. You're going to see in some footage later on where this one group they were meeting over the course of the cruise to learn how to do this dance that they were going to show off to the rest of the people on the cruise, like later on in the cruise. And so they spent the first couple of days kind of down here, like a couple of times a day, rehearsing and practicing. And so here we are on deck 4, entering the main Esplanade with a lot of the shopping, and making our way over towards Coffee and Cafe Promenade. And we're going to discover something rather interesting here, at least interesting for us, in terms of like how the coffee, the fancy coffees that you buy the coffee card for, or like the ones you're going to put on your SeaPass card, but they're $3 or $4 each, that kind of stuff. The fancier coffees, we typically get one of those, but then we want to get one of like the little pastries or just some sort of little dessert, and that's kind of a small breakfast if we're going to do this, as opposed to go sit like in the main dining room. So we're making our way over here in deck 4, and we're going to find out in a moment here that the coffee that they have in Cafe Promenade is just the regular coffee, almost like in those coffee pots, where you just sort of self-serve, and it's just the run-of-the-mill coffee. But the fancy coffee is across the way, and it's basically separated from the pastries that are free and that are included in the cruise. So, you'll see here in a second, we're going to go in here. We're looking for kind of the fancy coffee, and come to find out it's across the way, so they split it up. Now, we're used to the layout like on the Oasis class ships and some of the other ships where it's sort of all together. And in this particular instance, they don't do that. And what's really interesting, you're going to see here in a second, is they have some pastries and stuff across the way where the fancy coffee is, but they charge for those. And I've never seen that before on any of the other ships we've been on with Royal Caribbean. I have never seen, that I can remember, a deal where they had just the run-of-the-mill looking pastries that they charged for. They've never done that before. And so you see the ones right here, these are free and those are included. The ones over here that you're going to see in a second, those are not.
The pastries. Well, those pastries are. So you have to... That's weird. Yeah. You go get your fancy coffee here, and then you come back over there.
You have to pay for these. The food.
Yes.
So leave me some comments. Let me know what you think of this, and let me know why you think they do this, because these over here, this food, these pastries over here that they're charging for, I just don't understand why. They're not that fancy, and they're only charging like a couple of dollars, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense as to why they're doing it. Now you'll notice here on the right, they've got like some different Red Bulls and some Powerades and stuff like that, and those are all, I believe they're a charge for those as well. So this whole thing over here is just kind of isolated, and I get that they put the coffee over here and they put the Red Bull over here and stuff like that, but I don't understand the deal with the pastries. That just really kind of threw me off. But where they take away, they give in some other areas. And so you're going to see later on in the cruise where we do some video from back around 270, and there's a cafe back there that's only open for like breakfast and lunch. And it has a really nice little selection of egg things and some sausage things and stuff like that. So you can kind of do like a light breakfast back there. So that's kind of an interesting option for breakfast, in addition to this right here, plus the Cafe Promenade that's back on the other side of the Esplanade. So in our particular case, we had to basically do a couple of trips back and forth in order to match up the fancy coffee that you see me holding right there, along with just the basic run-of-the-mill pastries that are included, because I just can't justify something in my head, it just didn't compute that this was the first time that I had to like pay a couple of dollars for a pastry and put it on my SeaPass card. That just, I don't know, there was something about that was like, wait a minute, I just want my coffee and I want these pastries over here. And so it just didn't make sense the way they did it, but I'm sure there's a reason for it. So let me know in the comments what you think, if you know why they have them split out like this and why they have the fancy ones that they try to charge a couple of dollars for.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, so you see right there the Royal Caribbean Roast. There's your basic free run-of-the-mill coffee if you don't feel like spending, $3, $4, $5 for the fancy, cappuccino across the way on the other side of the Esplanade. And so here we go. We go into the basic area of Cafe Promenade that normally does like the pizzas and the salads, and this was pretty consistent that we've seen on other ships. I will say, and we'll say this throughout the cruise, because it's just one of those, we have done 3 previous cruises on Oasis class, and we just liked that layout so much better. I guess we were just really used to it, and we didn't realize it until we did this cruise.
That's probably what happened. I probably accidentally hit the button, turned it on the other day, didn't realize it, and that's why it drained the battery down.
So here we go, checking out the guest services area, and I don't remember why we were actually going down here. I'm putting this video together months after the cruise, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm not remembering exactly why we went down here, but kind of a cool little deal. Definitely a different layout than the guest services desk we've seen in all the other classes of ship prior to this one.
Yeah, it's more modular.
Yeah, very nice.
All the IMAX.
Yeah, I like the signs. Yeah, everything's, the layout, things like, not layout, wrong word. Things are definitely more modern. Are those IMAX?
Yeah. Those are like special version IMAX too. Oh.
So we make our way up to deck number 5, and you see the shore excursion there on the right. This area right outside the shore excursion, they do a lot of photography here. The photographers will set up almost every night, at least they did during our cruise. And they're really pushing the photography quite a bit on this cruise, at least compared to previous cruises. And maybe that's something that's changed over the last year or so, but on this particular cruise, it seemed like they had the photographers out there just every single night. So just trying to maximize those photographic opportunities. So we're up on deck 15 aft. We are now in the lower level of the Seaplex. You saw the little arcade right there as we were walking by. So the Seaplex is a pretty cool little area. Not quite my style or my wife's style. We're older and just, we don't do this kind of stuff on a cruise. Not anymore. Probably did years ago, back earlier days of cruising for us. But the Seaplex is pretty cool. It's definitely unique to this class of ship. They gave it quite a bit of space back here on deck 15 and 16. Here we see going up to 16 here. And they use that floor for a lot of different things. You see right now they've got it set up for basketball. They'll do roller skating on it. They'll bring the bumper cars out, do lots of stuff here. But this last little bit of the video will give you an idea of the Seaplex.
Skating action going on.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you gave it a like. To see more content like this, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you're notified whenever a new video is posted.